I see Shiva has a Kailasa background. Welcome, Shiva.
Hey, Shiva, the troublemaker.
Namaste.
Is that Kailasa in the background? It looks like it.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Okay. We were on learning this word, this shloka. Anantaschasmi naganam varuno yadasamaham pitrunam aryamachasmi yama samyamatam aham. So we were whole of last class was spent just on this part, right? Pitrunam aryamachasmi. And what we have learned is, what have we learned? First of all, how many paths are there after death?
2.
Come on. No. Two are considered good paths, but total. I want total. 4, right? 4 paths. What are the 4 paths? The Devayana. So Devayana is the path that the Mukta Jivas take. So it starts from the Sahasrara Chakra. So from the Hridaya, Sushumna Nadi, the Jiva goes out through the Sushumna Nadi, which is actually, it's in the heart. Actually starts in the Mooladhara Chakra, but then all of the other nadis end here. It's only Sushumna Nadi is the only one that goes up here, right? And the Sahasrara Chakra is like about 6 inches above, the crown. And from there, the path is the path of light, right? Devayana is the journey of the Mukta Jivas, which is out of the cycles of birth and death. So that path, which even in the 8th chapter of Krishna talks about, the path where going through which the Jivas don't come back. So that is for the Mukti path. So it's a path of Mukti, right? And last time I told you about the Devatas that take them. It's the light, all the Devatas of the light that take them on that path, right, to the Urdhva Lokas. And finally, they are stationed in the Satyaloka until Brahma himself, after his death, after his 100 years of his duration, he becomes Mukta and everybody becomes Muktas. Okay, that is one path. What is the second path called?
Pitruyana.
Pitruyana, right? So Pitruyana is the one that is a path of return, as in, but it is again to Swargaloka. Again, Swargaloka is a collective. Swargaloka is not one place. Swargaloka means different places. Chandraloka, all of these different Varuna Lokas, they were all different, have their own loka. So people go with their good karmas, they go to this Urdhva Loka, the Swarga Loka, to various lokas within the Swarga Loka. But once Swarga Loka is only bhoga, right? And there is, you are not going to do any punya papa in the Swargaloka, right? And related to this, you know the story of Bali, right? Mahabali. When in the Vamana Avatara, when Bali is doing a Ashwamedha Yaga, right? And so he has to be a Shatakratu, right? He occupies the throne of Indra, right? When Indra is gone, Bali occupies the throne. And then Shukra says that whosoever who does that 100 of those the yagas, then they will have that seat permanently until the end of the Manvantara. So what happens after that is that Bali starts doing these yajnas, these Ashwamedha yajnas, and as he's done to 99 and he's doing the 100th yajna, he is a very udari, like he's very charitable in nature, and so he offers everything to people. You go and you can ask me anything. I'll give you, as a charity, anything that you ask. And that's what Vamana comes, right? When Bali says that, Shukra says to Bali, you are the Lord of the Swargaloka. This charity and all of those things earn punya only in Bhuloka. In Swargaloka, there is no need of charity, there is no need of anything. First of all, because there is no, it's a wish, you wish and you get it. So there is no, when there is something like that, there is no need for charity, right? When there is limitation as in the Bhuloka, then there is a need for charity and all of those things. And so Shukra warns him, there is no need to do any donations and charity because you are the king of the Swargaloka and you have there is no concept of donation and earning punya. So there's no punya or papa in Loka. Same with Narkalokas. There's only that is in Karma Bhumi, which is basically Karma Bhumi is the earth. And within the earth, India or Bharata is actually designated as the Karma Bhumi within the earth. Right? In the Puranas, they talk about Bharata as the Karma Bhumi, where the Punya Karmas take place. I don't know, it's a very old, right, Shiva? So that is the concept, right? So, okay, why was I talking about this? The concept of there's no punya and papa in earning in Swargaloka, right? Swargaloka is only Bhogaloka, and we were talking about the Pitruyana, right? So there you enjoy, or in the Narakaloka, you suffer, right? And I have to add one more thing to this. See, it's very fashionable to say, oh, there is nothing out there, it's all within us. It is also true, right? If you look at any concept of Vedanta, occurs in three domains: Adidaiva, Adibhautika, Adhyatmika. So there is Adhyatmika Swarga, Adhyatmika Naraka, which is within us. When we are suffering, we are in Naraka. When we are enjoying, we are in Swarga. Right? That is also true. But people also say that is the only thing, there is nothing out there. No, that is Adidaivika. What I'm talking about, the path that the Jiva travels, these are all Adidaivika, Swarga and Narakas. Right? So we saw all of these things, and we saw different Narakalokas and all of the things that happens there. So I also want to show you this. Can you see this, or is it not visible?
Yes.
Can you see the Tattva Pradipika? Okay, good.
Yeah, we can see it.
Right. So last time in the Tattva Pradipika, I showed you the Sapta, right? Api Sapta. If you look at this one, right? We went through this, right? Om Abhisapta Om. And it talks about the 7 Narakalokas, right? Rauravo atha mahams chaiva vakni vaitarani tatha kumbhipaka iti prokta anya nitya narakanitu anitya narakanitu tamisrams chanda tamisro dvau nityau samprakirtitau iti sapta pradhanani baliyam tu uttarottaram. Right? So we talked about innumerable Narakalokas, of which 7 are primary, of which 5 are impermanent, 2 are permanent. So Andhantamisra and Tamisra are permanent. These are permanent. That means when you go in there, there's no coming out. Right? So and especially for the Daityas, the Lord of God of not God, the demon of chaos, right? The demon of chaos, and these are the ones that spread evil in a bigger scale. Just like Devatas spread good in the bigger scale, the Daityas and Asuras spread the bad things in a bigger scale, and so they land in tamas, and the tamisra and tamas. And you can also see this mentioned in the Ishavasya Upanishad, right? Asurya nama te loka andhena tamasa vritaha tamste pretyabhigachanti yeke chatma no janaha. See, Ishavasya Upanishad says, Asurya nama te loka. Asurya means Asura Yata, the place where which Asuras go. Asurya nama te loka andhena tamasa vrita, which is blinding darkness. Tams te pretya bhigachanti. After death, they go there. That means after their release. I mean, not the mukti release, but the release into naraka, nitya naraka. Pretya bhigachanti. Yeke cha atmahano janaha. Who go there? Atmahanaha. Atmahanaha means who are the atmahanas? I've explained this in the when we went through Ishavasya Upanishad. Atmahana means, first of all, you have to take every meaning of Atma. So, Paramatma. Paramatmahana means the destroyers of God, in the sense that the concept of God, those who spread wrong in knowledge about God and those things, those are called Atmahana. Atmahana, as in destroyers of themselves. Those who destroy themselves through all of these addictions and all of those things that just, it's a path downward, it's a downward spiral. That's also Atmahana. And also suicide is also called Atmahana, right? So people who kill themselves, people who destroy themselves in terms of they don't destroy themselves physically, destroy themselves character-wise, and also people who destroy Paramatma through misinformation, giving misinformation and manipulating all of those things. They're all Atmahana. So all of them, eventually, they all lead to andhena tamasa vritaha, andhan tamas. Right? So Ishavasya Upanishad talks about this andhata misra in a couple of places in the Upanishad itself. Right? So I wanted to show you a few more things about this. Okay, this is another sutra in the same adhikarana, talking about the same thing. You can see Krutyaye Anushayavan Drushta Smritibhyam Om. So this is another sutra which is saying, what it is saying is, see, if you look at this one, Bhukta Sheshanushaya Shayani Imam Prapya Bhuvam Punaha. That means, whenever the jivas enter into this world, see, none of these are permanent worlds, right? Other than the permanent narakas, the two narakas, Andhan Tamisra and Tamisra, all of the others are temporary. Swarga is temporary. All the naraka lokas are temporary, right? And what this is saying is, Bhukta Shesha Anushaya means that when you have, let's say, if you are, somebody is in Swargaloka, Bhukta Shesha means they've enjoyed all the Punya Karmas. They've enjoyed all of the Punya Karmas, but they will not exhaust it. They will come down to the earth with a Punya Shesha. That means, if you see a Bill Gates, that is the Punya Shesha of the earned merit of some other life. So they would have earned a lot of merit, they would have enjoyed in the Swargaloka, and they would have come down to this earth with Punya Shesha, and that Punya Shesha would have given them all of this comforts in this world. Okay, it is not anything to do with goodness or badness. It's only to do with good karma. They might be a bad person, they would have done a fantastic good karma, they would have enjoyed for that, and with Punya Shesha come down. But then once that Shesha is over, then all goodness will take effect. So,
Hey, Sunil, so if,
yes.
if you have punya, I thought you enjoy your life in the Swarga, but where is the remaining punya left then?
No, that's what this is saying. This sutra is saying that not all of the punyas are enjoyed. There is a Punya Shesha.
Okay.
See, if you look at Tata, Sheshena imam lokam ayati punah karma kurute. Punar gacchati, punar agacchati iti shrutehe. That means there is a punya shesha or papa shesha. Right? You will not enjoy everything. It's like you got $1 million lottery. You have enjoyed until $10,000, and with $10,000 they'll send you back. Time for you to go. Not with zero.
In the same way, there is Papa Shesha also. Like
Papa
you,
Shesha
you
is
come
also
and
there.
suffer.
Exactly. So a lot of Papa is suffered, and then with Papa Shesha, you will be born in the worst of circumstances on this world, right? Where parents are not there, or ill-treated, or in an environment that is very bad. So these are where Papa Shesha is there. Again, it's not really goodness or badness. It is the merit or demerits that are earned through some karmas. Once they are exhausted, it might be merits. So that might happen. Again, karma is a very changing thing. So it is not an indication of anything, goodness or badness. It is an indication of good karma that is done, but it's not an indication of goodness, because eventually a good person, in the sense that the swabhava, sattvika swabhava, even if let's say they have suffered in naraka lokas, come down to this earth, I should say, come up to this earth from the naraka loka, and with the Papa Shesha suffered everything, and once that Papa Shesha is finished, their real Punya Sattvika Subhava will take over, and they'll rejoin that path, that journey on the right path of earning the merits. Right? But if you see suffering, or if you see comforts of people, and we know they don't deserve it, because people who are wealthy and powerful, especially in Kali Yuga, most of them are not really good people, and we see good people suffer and bad people enjoy, and so that is no indication of any goodness or badness. It's an indication of karma. And in the Kali Yuga, the karma, people with such karmas only take birth. It's to add more to the confusion and the kind of loss of faith, because once people see good people suffer and bad people enjoy, you lose that faith and trust in some kind of fairness. And that's the whole point of having these kinds of people take birth, because without knowing the karma theory and what happens, there'll be no understanding, and eventually there's going to be loss of a kind of faith in the goodness. And that happens more and more in Kali Yuga. Remember, we are not in Kali Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga Sandhi. That means that this is like 6 o'clock, morning, 6 a.m. Right? It is. It's still. The sun is just about to come out. The day is not started yet. So as we go into the Kali Yuga, the effect of Kali Yuga is going to take hold much more. It's still in Sandhi. Sandhi is still a good time, actually. Okay. So what this sutra is saying is that when they go to Narakalokas, the people come back with Papa Shesha. Again, they're not necessarily born as human beings. They might be born as animals, which is also a suffering. Just the birth of an animal or insects or whatever it is a suffering, because there is no way of learning or earning merit. Right? There's no Punya Papa for animals also. Punya Papa is not there for animals. So there is only suffering or enjoyment. That's it. There is no Punya Papa in animals also. So you go through that, all of those things, and that's still considered a suffering. Just the birth of a jiva in these vionis, right, or Papa yonis as they are called, is basically a suffering, because there's no chance of learning. There's no chance of knowledge. Okay. So all of this adhikaranas, talks about that. And this one, nat tritiye tathopalabde. Again, these are like, there are in the Narkalokas, again in the Narkalokas, there are 3 divisions. And division is the 3rd division, where there is not even a relief in the suffering. I mean, these are the permanent Narkalokas. There is not even a relief. Is there a relief? In the upper ones, there is some relief, even for its a brief period. But in the Tritiya, there is no relief. In the 3rd level of Narakas, there is no Smaryate api loke. These are all these different sutras. Let me see. I don't know why it repeats here.
Sunil, is this a section of the Garuda Purana or is it
No. This is Brahma Sutra.
Oh, and then Tattva Pradipika is a portion of Brahma Sutra.
No. Tattva Pradipika is a commentary on that.
Oh, okay.
That just explains the 14th century, actually 13th century commentary. That again, when it talks about Narakalokas, where it could say that some of the things about is Paramatma present in, if Paramatma is omnipresent, is he present in Naraka? So if he's present in Naraka, then isn't that Naraka Yatana? That will be one of the question. And it says no, Paramatma is present everywhere and also in Naraka Loka, and is also in Andhantamas. So Paramatma is also present in Andhantamas, but there is no Papa Sparsha or Dukkha Sparsha. So things like that, they're all talked about in this one. Like you can say Yonehe Shariram, as in when they come back. See, if you see that come back to this birth, it says, see, Pitru Shariran Matru Sharira Yonim Anupravishya Tata Eva Shariram Prapnoti. So from the father's body, the jiva enters the mother's body. Of course, it's talking about human birth as well as animal birth, not the birth of trees or krimis and all of those things. Tata eva shariram prapnoti. So they get body. So first the jiva enters the body of the male, and then through the male enters the body of the female, and then they get the sharira. So the sharira is got in the female body. Okay, any question? So that's the 4 parts I was talking about, right? Devayana, Pitruyana, and then Tiryak. Tiryakyana is side to side. You don't go to Swarga or Narka. You die here, and then after a while, you are born again as an animal or tree or something, without any of the yanas. So that's called as the Tiryakyana. And then Adhoyana is Adhogati Yana, where you go to the Narkalokas.
Adhogati and Samyamana is the same?
Yeah, Samyamana is Adhogati. That's what where you suffer. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's the first part of the third chapter is about sadhana, and to create sadhana. Remember, I gave the Ashtakshara mantra after I scared you with Narkalokas, right? That is exactly what the 3rd chapter does. Is it will tell you of the Narakas and then say, save yourself from the Narakaloka. And all the sadhanas. So now you can see the Dvitiya Adhyaya. Then it talks about the actual sadhana starts from the Dvitiya Pada. The 3rd chapter, 2nd Pada. First chapter, when it talks about Narakas and all that, it is called as the Vairagya Pada. That means Vairagya. You need to get the Vairagya. Once you get the detachment, then you are ready for the Sadhana Pada. So that's from the 2nd Pada, it just talks about sadhanas, meditation, all of those things. Okay. Any questions so far?
Sunil, you did not complete that Bali story. Oh.
No, that will come later on.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I was talking about Bali is Shukracharya tells Bali, there's no need for you to donate or do charity
Because he's
because that is only in the Bhuloka. There is no charity required in the Swargaloka anyway because it's a wish fulfilling loka. Nobody needs any charity there. Right? And so that is the reason why I was saying that Swarga and Naraka are Bhoga Lokas. When I say Bhoga, I mean I'm talking about a mix of Sukha Bhoga and Dukkha Bhoga in terms of Naraka.
Sunil, one question
Yes.
regarding the Swarga Loka. It will be like a same. I'm just asking a weird question. In Swarga Loka also, if people say they enjoy Bhoga, it's only kind of a dream kind of thing, right? Like the people. It's not.
The experience is like dream.
Experience is like dream.
But you're not dreaming because there's no physical body first of all. So there's nobody's dreaming there. Your Sukshma Sharira, you're experiencing it through your Sukshma Sharira, Sukshma Indriyas, which is what we use to dream also. That is what I was saying.
Because if there is a Punya Atma, and if they leave from here and go to Narkaloka, finish whatever they have done, and they go to Swargaloka, and if they die, and some people say if they come back, they remember from the past life.
Yeah.
So how do they carry that? Like when they go to so many iterations, do they still carry that?
Yes. See that the difference between Chitta and Chetana. That is, see Chitta, right? Chitta, I have said Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. Remember, I said Manas is where you look at options, you do sankalpa, planning, focus. All of this is the Manas, right? Buddhi is judgment. You judge, you pick. That is Buddhi. Ahankara is self-awareness. Right? You're aware of yourself as different from others. Chitta is smaranatmaka. That means chitta means everything that is remembered. Memory. Chitta is kind of a memory, right? But that memory is narrow. It's constrained. Memory is actually chitta and chetana.
Okay.
Chitta means it is narrow memory. That means you remember from this birth. You remember your childhood. You remember all of those things. Chetana is called as Bahusmaranat Chetana. That means suddenly you will remember all lives. Like when you become mukta, you remember all your births. You remember all the relationships. You remember all your parents, all the friends. Everything is remembered when you are mukta. Right? And then I think it's either in one of the Upanishads. I think it's in one of the Upanishads. I have to because I've read it some time ago. That in Mukti, people call their parent of some life to come so that they can have that darsana.
Wow.
Right? And it's like the parent comes in an amsha. Right? It's like, for example, again, there are so many different concepts to explain this. Then you might ask if they're in some in some birth, how can this guy call? So they can come as amshas.
Okay.
And so we'll look at those concepts later on. But then it says, whatever they desire, they get. So if they desire to see their family of some life, that family comes in front of them. They can interact. Right? So all of those things are there. Right? So Bahusmarana means you know the past, you know the future. So time is, everything is present kind of thing. Like for God, it's like that. Time is, everything is present. There is no past and future for God. For Paramatma, there's no past and future. Everything is present.
I see. Now I got it.
Right? So the same way, for the jivas, in a very limited extent, because for Paramatma, it is present regards to everything that Paramatma, all of the things. For you, it is present for all of the things you have done in all the cycles of birth and death.
Okay.
Right? So at the Chetana level, even now, we have Bahusmarana, but that is closed.
Okay.
Right? When that, a little bit of that opens, then you get the Smarana of, of a previous birth and all of those things. In one of the one of the Puranas, I think it's Skanda Purana. I think it's Skanda Purana. In the Skanda Purana, in one of the chapters in Skanda Purana, it talks about what happens to the baby in the womb every month, until the 10th month when it is born, right? So the question is there an experience? Is there a remembrance? Is there any kind of experience to the jiva when it is in the womb? And it says the jiva has zero experience until the 7th month.
Oh.
After the 7th month is when all of the indriyas, everything opens up, right? From the 7th month to the 10th month, the fetus feels very constrained, and it remembers all the previous births.
Wow.
And it also knows, according to the Skanda Purana, these are all the papa karmas I have done. These are all the punya karmas I have done. It will remember all of those things. And then it thinks, the Purana says it thinks, I should not do this again. I'm getting this human birth, I should not do this again. And then it says, when it comes out and takes the first birth, the first breath, it forgets everything.
Wow.
So at birth, we forget everything.
Sunil, is that why it's called Garbhastha Narakam?
That's correct. But it's not from the first month. It is actually from the 7th month. Because the first 7 months experience. None of the indriyas are open.
Garbhastha Narakam is not for the mother to experience the pain. It's actually for the child inside the
child
womb.
Experiences the Narakam, yes.
It remembers everything.
Yeah, it remembers from the 7th month until birth. It remembers, it dreams, right? And this is medically proved that babies dream. Babies have dreams, right? And it dreams, and there is REM sleep, where eyelids are kind of, it's shaking that eyelids, and which means it is in REM, some kind of a REM sleep, which is dream state. And that dream state is nothing but it's remembrance of the past. And it says from the 7th month to the 10th month that it is suffering because it is now aware of constraint in the womb, that it is constrained in the sac in the womb. And it also remembers all the janmas it has taken, all the papa karmas it's done. And then it thinks that I shouldn't do this. In this janma, I shouldn't do this. But then once it comes out and takes the first breath and it cries, no smarana is there. That's it. Everything is gone.
The part of the karma executed. Boom.
That's it. All memory is closed. All the previous memories are closed.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. But that is the power of Chetana. So when we say Jiva Chetana, Jiva is power of Chetana, that means it is Bahusmarana. Bahusmarana means at the same time, you know the past and the future. Right? So that is called as Bahusmarana. But in the case of Jiva, it's like, it's a fantastic movie. What's his name? Richard Gere. His movie. Have you guys seen Mothman Prophecies? If you have not, you got to watch that movie. It's called Mothman Prophecies. It's based on a real true story. What happens in that one is, and they're trying to explain this kind of paranormal activity, all of those things. And they explain it. One of the guys is explaining that, hey, how do I see future? What is going to happen in the future and all of those things. And he says, see, if you're on the road, you only see what you see, right? Like a couple of feet in the front, a couple of feet in the back, and that's it. But then let's say you go and stand on the building. Now you see where, miles away, you in the front, miles away in the back, right? So he explains that, so time is like that. When you're born like here, your experience is as if you're traveling on the road. So you're constrained by, a couple of feet in front and a couple of feet in the back, and that's it. But then as you go up, your vision of time increases, of the past and the future increases, right?
Wow.
And it's the property of where you're stuck. And so, but if the sharira and everything is removed, then the chetana by itself can see the past as present, as you can actually choose to see back, forth, everything is present.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that is called chetana. Okay, so let's move forward. I think it's already 11:30, 11:20. Okay, so we have done with Aryama. Next one, Yama samyamatamaham. I am among the samyamatam. Samyama means the one who control. Like they control in terms of judges, the police. All of these are there to control, right? They control people. So among all of that crowd, samyamatam means those who control. Among all of them, I am the king of them, which is Yama. So Yama is the king of those. So who is this Yama? So let's look at that. Yeah, so Yama we have done. Yama. Who is this Yama? He's also called Yama Dharmaraya, which is actually two names. Yama is for the wicked. When we say Yama, that means for wicked. That's a cruel form. Yama is a cruel, scary kind of form. Dharmaraya is actually, or Dharmaraja is actually good form, right? So he is the king of the judges. He is the king of the judges. What's his job is to judge. The job of Yama is to judge dharma and adharma. What is dharma? What is adharma? Has anybody done what they have done? Have they done dharma karya or adharma karya? That judgment. So he is the lord of the judges. Among all the judges, he is the king of the judges. Samyamatam aham. Okay. Who is this Yama? His first birth. His name is Brahma. He is born from the heart of Brahma. And his name is Dharma. Right? And then in the Vaivasvata Manvantara, that is the current Manvantara, he is born as Yama.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he is the son of Surya Deva, Vivaswan. Right? Surya Deva and Sanya Devi. Sanya, Surya and Sanya. So what is the story? It's a very good story, and it's a template. It's a Puranic story. And it's a template that I keep telling in many classes, including the Jyotisha class. Right? So Surya and Sanya, are the husband and wife. And once Sanya, the Purana story, this is in Vishnu Purana story, Sanya is overwhelmed by the opulence of Surya Deva. So she goes away to do tapas. And it so happens that she puts her clone image called Chaya in her place. That Chaya looks like her, talks like her, everything like her. She puts Chaya there and she goes away to do tapas. Okay. And Sanya has 3 kids through Surya. And though they are Yama, Vaivasvata Manu, that's the lord of this Manvantara, Vaivasvata Manu, is Surya's putra, right? So Vaivasata Manu, and then Yamuna. So the Abhimanini of Yamuna Nadi. Yamuna is Yama's sister, and she is his sister. And they are the three kids of Surya Deva: Yama, Manu, and Vaivasata Manu, and Yamuna. So she leaves, Sanya leaves them and she goes to do tapas. And then Chaya lives with Surya Deva as his wife, and they have three kids. Their kids are who? Chaya Martanda Sambhutam, Tam
Saturn.
Namami Shanaischaram, Shani. So Shani is Surya Putra, right? Shani. Then Savarani Manu, the Manu of the future.
Oh, sorry.
Manu of the future is called Savarani. So he's another Manu. And then the Abhimanini of Tapati, the Nadi, Tapati Nadi, Abhimanini Devata, Devi, Tapati. So they are the three kids of Surya Deva through Chaya. Chaya will be very partial to her kids, Shani, Tapati, and Savarani Manu. She will be very, very, she will be treating the Yama, Yamuna, and Vaivasata Manu very badly. And so Yama will be very sad that the mother is treating them very partially, that she is partial to Shani and treating badly. So one day what happens is in anger, kid Yama, he kicks his mother, Chaya, thinking, of course, that he thinks his mother is very partial, and he kicks her. Suddenly, Chaya curses that you lose your leg, right? And then Yama is very scared. He runs to his father, Surya, and he says, this is not my mother, she cursed me. Which mother will curse a kid like this, that they lose their leg? And Surya says, he modifies the curse, and he says, you will not lose your leg, but your leg will be infested by insects, and there will be a bird that will peck on those insects all the time. So Yama is always accompanied by a bird, like a hen, that will always eat those insects that's on their leg. And it is also the story which is the genesis of, in our local languages, if somebody is cursing somebody, if somebody kicks an elder, they say, insects will bite your legs, right? Don't kick. Insects will bite your legs, or your leg will be infested by insects. That genesis of that is this story. Chaya cursing Yama that his leg is going to be lost, and then insect will infest it. So the hen is going to kind of peck it, and he will not lose the leg. And then Surya Deva is very angry that a mother has given such a harsh curse to her son, and then he asks her, who are you? And then Chaya has to tell the truth. She says, I am Chaya, I am the clone of Sanya. She has gone to do penance, and so he leaves her, and then there is a fallout between Shani and Surya Deva. And Shani says, I'm going to go very far away. I will not live with you. You have banished my mother. Also leave, and goes far away. So Shani goes far away from Surya Deva, right? Among the Navagrahas, he's the furthest from Surya. And also, if you look at the chart, if Surya and Shani are with each other or facing each other, what happens?
Father and son.
There will be a father and son problem, viyoga. I shouldn't say father or kid. Can be son or daughter. There can be viyoga in terms like Rama had that. Rama had an exalted son and an exalted Shani, both Ucha, seeing each other. But he had Pitru viyoga, so he had to leave his dad and go. So there will be a problem between the kids and their parents or kids and their kids. So there will be, in terms of that parental relationship, whether with their parents or their kids, there will be some major relationship problem if Shani and Surya Deva are together or seeing each other. Right? So that is definitely going to be there. So that story becomes our story, right? So this is how Purana stories, and I always relate this in when I'm explaining what Purana is and explaining Jyotishya, because Purana is not a story. This is not history. This is a template. This is a different kind of story. It's a template. And that template becomes, when Sun and Shani are together, that template will be played through us. We will become Surya and our kids will be Shani, or we will be Shani and our parents will be Surya. So that problem will be seen in our lives itself. Right? So that is how Purana stories should be read and understood. And then, so that is the story of this thing. And then Surya Deva comes to know that Sanya has turned into a female horse, a mare, and she's doing penance and in some place, and so he goes as a horse, and then he as a horse, he and Surya Deva and Sanya have another twins, actually 3 kids, 1 twins and another kid. The twins are Ashwini Kumaras, right? The physicians of Devatas, Ashwini Kumaras, Nasatya and Dasra. So they are Ashwini Kumaras, are the deities of Ashwini Nakshatra. They're also Surya's kids. And another kid called Revanta. Right?
Yeah.
So there is something with 3 kids and Surya Deva. Always 3 kids he'll have. So this is the story of Vivaswan, Surya Deva, who is the father of the Manu of this age, this Manvantara, and also father of Yama, father of Shani.
Sunil, who is the 3rd kid of Chaya? One you said Shani,
Tapati,
Manu?
Tapati Nadi.
Oh.
Right, the Abhimanini Devi of Tapati Nadi is 3rd child. Just like Yamuna, Abhimanini of Yamuna Nadi is the 3rd child of Sanya. So it's Yama, Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, and then
Yamuna.
Yamuna, and Chi, Savarni Manu, and then Tapati. And then as a horse or mare, it is Ashwini Kumara, Nasatya, Dasra, and Revanta.
Revanta is nothing but Revati Nakshatra, Sunil?
No.
That's different.
Yeah, it's a different. Okay, so that is the story of Yama. Yama, that is the story of who Yama is, how he is related to Surya Deva, all of those things. And he has a very important position. I said he's the judges, right? So yeah, then he is the king of the Narakaloka. He is the king of Narakaloka. That is called as Samyamana. Samyamana is Narakaloka. Right? So that means the dead will first reach Aryama based on whether they have done good or bad. If they have done good, they continue in the path of Swargaloka. If they're done bad, they go to the Adholokas. When they go to the Adholokas, the first stop of the Adholoka is what? Yamadharmaraya, Yama, right? So they go to Yama, and it's like in the dream that you're in front of the scary monster in front of you, and so Yama. So then from there, after Yama Darshana, then the suffering will start in various Yamalokas, Narakalokas. Okay, he is the ruler of the south direction. He is the ruler of the south direction, and that is why south is not deemed good, because it represents death, the south direction. You cannot do any puja turned towards or facing the southern direction. You cannot do it because it is Yama direction. The only one that you can do is Dakshinamurti, because Dakshinamurti faces the south. Of course, he's the lord of the death. Shiva is the lord of the death. So he's Dakshinamurti at that stage. Okay. So, but southern direction is the direction of Yama. And he is Dandapani. That means, so that is Danda is the, like, in the courts, they have hammer, right? Justice is hammer. Actually, the real, tool there is, it shouldn't be hammer, it should be Danda, stick. It's not hammer, it's a stick. Stick is punishment. Hammer has no meaning. Hammer means, you're saying, hitting, saying order, right? So it's not meaning. He's Dandapani. Dandapani means he has a stick. And that stick is the punishment stick. Danda. Right? So that is the Ayudha of Yamadharmaraya is Danda. And his Vahana is buffalo. His Vahana is buffalo. Right? And his assistants, Kala and Mrityu and Chitragupta. Chitra and Chitragupta. And then we have all heard about Chitragupta, right? Chitragupta, he's the accounts keeper, Karma's accounts keeper of Yamadharmaraya is Chitragupta. Right? So, and then what are the avatars of Yama? First avatar of Yama in this Manvantara is called Satyajit. Satyajit he was the Indra of the third Manvantara. I mean, third Manvantara. So we had the Swayambhuva Manu, the first, when the day started, when this Kalpa started, the first was Swayambhuva Manu, right? Then Swarochisha Manu, and then Uttama Manu. That in his rule of Uttama Manu, the Indra of that time was Yama himself incarnated as Indra, was born as Indra. And so his name was Satyajit. Right? Like for example, now the Indra of today is called Purandara. The Indra, next coming Indra is called Bali. Right? So the same way, Yama was the Indra of the third Manvantara. Right? Because Indras change every Manvantara. So Indra was the third Manvantara Indra was Satyajit, which is Yama. Of course, and Jambavanta. We all know Jambavanta. Right? In Ramayana. Who's Jambavanta in Ramayana? The bear. That is Yama. Yama Avatara in Ramayana is Jambavanta. In Mahabharata, of course, Yudhishthira and then Vidura. Yudhishthira and Vidura. Right? So two avatars of Yama in the same time, at the same time. Yudhishthira and then as Vidura. Right? One as a king and one as a servant. Do you know why he was born as a servant at the same time?
That's a good question.
That is the Mandavya Rishi. Okay. So Mandavya, or is also called Ani Mandavya Rishi, was doing Ghora Tapas, a very big tapas at one point, because he wanted to equal Vasishta. But the Devatas wanted to kind of subvert, make sure that he does not achieve that, because it was not beyond his yogyata, but beyond his fitness. And so they devised a plan that Yama is going to subvert this some way. And so what happens is, in the Mandavya is doing Ghora Tapas, in a Samadhi, doing Ghora Tapas. So thieves rob a king and they run away, and the soldiers of the king are going after them. And so what these thieves are very scared, and what they do, they go and hide in Mandavya Ashrama. So finally the soldiers of the king find that and they arrest them, and they think that the kingpin of all of this is Mandavya Rishi. So they also carry him. Of course, he's still in that Samadhi, but they carry him. And a death sentence is given to all of this one, death by torture. And so they torture Mandavya Rishi. Of course, he's still in Samadhi. what they do is they kind of put a spear, and on spear, he's held on the spear, right? And then after a long time, Mandavya comes back to his senses, and he sees that that there is a spear that's pierced him, and he gets down and he tells the soldier, "Go and tell the king I'm." So the king will come. "Oh, so sorry, we didn't know." And then Mandavya, with his Divya Drishti, then sees why this happened. Yama did this. So he'll go to Yama and he'll say, to the king, "It's not your fault. It's Yama's fault. Let me go talk to Yama." So he goes to Yama, and then he says, "For what karma that I have done have you given me this punishment?" And Yama just makes this up. He says, "See, there is a rule that until 14 years, your karmas are not really taken into consideration. It's only after the 14th year that the karma storehouse starts. So as kids, we don't really do karmas. Okay, small kids don't do any karmas. Good karma, bad karma. So that is, see, in jurisprudence, they say if you are less than 18, right? Basically, that comes down to this principle, that karma is not really committed until 14 years, in the sense that you don't have an understanding of good and bad at that time, right? But after, see, in the Indian tradition, at what age do you become major adult?
18, right? You say 18?
Not 18.
15 or 18?
12, right?
No, not 12. Shodasha. 16.
Oh.
16, okay.
16 years. So until 15 years, you're still a boy. 16th year is when you become an adult. 16th year. Right? So that's why there's a sweet 16. I think if you look at sweet 16, probably it is tied to becoming an adult. I have not done my research on this, but I have to do this research. Where did sweet 16 come from? Right? But if you look at Shodashi, hey Shodashi, they say, right? Shodashi means a 16-year-old. That means a newly adult. 16 is the age of being an adult is 16 years. Right now it's 18 years, but that is it's not a biological related thing. But actually speaking, in Indian traditions, it is 16 years and related to some kind of biology. Okay. So, but after 14 years, it says, that is when your karma starts accruing. So that is when you have the brains to understand what is good karma, what is bad karma, right? So that is the rule. So what Yama makes up the story that, this punishment is because when you are a small, you are torturing insects. You are kind of taking some sticks and piercing small insects. And therefore that papa karma has come to haunt you. But Ani Mandavya says, there is no papa karma for kids because there is no understanding of papa and punya at that age. So that is wrong. And he curses him. Right? And that is what Yama is waiting for. Because when he curses him, all of the things that he had gained through the tapas is lost through the power of the curse. And that curse is for him to be born as a Shudra. And that's Vidura. Right? So he's a Dasi Putra. Vidura is a Dasi Putra, and he is always called Dasi Putra in the Mahabharata by Duryodhana. Right? And Duryodhana always calls him as a, I think it's calls him Chattar or something. I forget what the name was. Which means that Dasi Putra. Right? But he is he's the same person is Yudhishthira, the king.
Yeah.
Right? But in another Amsha, he's he's not lowly, actually not a lowly born, but he is treated that way by the Kauravas. He's treated as a lowly born. Even Dhritarashtra is kind of a love-hate relationship, right? I told you about Viduraniti when I was explaining Viduraniti, how he would banish him. Dhritarashtra would banish him because Vidura speaks the truth, and Dhritarashtra cannot hear the truth. And so he banishes him, and after he cools down, he'll call him back. Vidura, come, tell me dharma, right? So that is the, Vidura is a very, and Vidura Niti is the actual rule book of the golden age, as they say, when Yudhishthira becomes the king. And in the rule of the Pandavas, the rule book is Vidura Niti. Whatever Vidura, because Vidura was the minister. So the king and the minister were the same person. Yudhishthira was the king, Vidura was the minister. All right. So that is the thing. So these are the 4 avatars of Yama. Satyajit as an Indra at one point in the previous Manvantras, and then Jambavanta in Ramayana, and then in the Mahabharata time as Yudhishthira the king and Vidura the minister. Right? And when you come to this one, see, the birth of the Pandavas, right, is also a pointer to, the way things are need to be, the order in which things are done. Even though when Yudhishthira is born, Kunti invokes Yama, right, to get Yudhishthira, but then she invokes Vayudeva, Prana, to get Bhima, who is much above Yama, right? Bhima is Prana, right? So why? Because Dharma comes first, right? He is the judge of Dharma, and that Dharma comes first, always. It is not a person, it is not a king, it is not the greatness. It is Dharma that comes first, right? And on that idea is, constitution comes first. And then constitution is more than the people, more than power, right? Constitution is more than power, right? The same way, Dharma is always more than anything else. It should always be first. And that's why Kunti chooses. Otherwise, she could have chosen Bhima first. When it really, if you really look at the order in which it has to be done, but she chooses Dharma first, because Dharma is the overarching principle that should be there first, under which umbrella of which everything else comes. Right? Dharma. So Dharma should be there. And then what is topmost after that? Bala. Right? So if you look at that, the strength it's what? Buddhir balam yasho dhairyam nirbhayatvam arogata ajadyam vakpatutvancha anumat smaranat bhavet. It's also bhima smaranat bhavet too. Buddhi bala, atma bala first. Atma bala means what? What is atma bala? What is the difference between atma bala, buddhi bala, mano bala, and deha bala?
Buddhi bala means strong thinking.
Don't give me thinking and all that stuff. Give correct terms. Use the correct terms. Okay.
Vichakshana jnana.
Oh.
Ability to distinguish right and wrong.
Ability to distinguish right and wrong, right? That when we say bala, buddhi bala, that means, even in front of a lot of things that attract us in the wrong path, you still retain that strength to discriminate the right and wrong, right? That is called buddhi bala. Atma, what is atma bala? Atma bala is nothing but hata. That means persistence in the right path is called atma bala. Give me atma bala means the strength to be persistent. That is atma bala. What is manobala? Manobala is actually, one is focus, right? One is focus, focusing on one thing. Number 2 is called a sankalpa bala. That means planning and executing. In English, we call that vision. Yeah. That is manobala. Right? Planning and executing is sankalpa bala. Vision is sankalpa bala. That is a motivation to achieve a vision. That is also manobala. Of course, deha bala is the strength of the body. Again, strength of the body. There are two kinds of strength of the body. What are the two kinds of strength of the body?
Maybe ability to bear and then ability to strike.
Ability to
Bear and then ability to strike.
ability to strike. No. So this is deha bala is the strength of a 100-meter runner and a strength of a marathon runner. Which strength are we talking about? Deha bala is stamina more than strength. Stamina. It is the power to do things, over a long term. That is deha bala. The one that Vedanta, not the power. It's not the power. It's the stamina. Right? It's not the muscles. It's not saying deha bala is putting muscles on. No, it's not the strength of the muscles. It's the strength of the stamina, the persistence. That strength. You don't see India. I mean, not today, but if you look at old, did your grandfather have or grandparents have any muscles? They were very lean, but they had amazing stamina. They would go walk 100 miles if you want to. That is the power. That is deha bala. They could fast for a couple of days if they wanted to. That is deha bala. Right? Now we are defining. See, we are all in this day and age. Everything is defined in short terms. Right? 100 meters is the greatest strength. Muscle is the greatest thing. Short term is the greatest thing. Our definition has become like that. But in even 50 years ago, the definition of strength was actually stamina. The real power was stamina. Deha bala is stamina. Right? They didn't care for muscles. They cared for stamina. Can you stand outside in the agricultural field and plow, for 2 days? That is stamina. Muscles will not give you that. Stamina, right? Deha bala. So atma bala, manobala, deha bala. Okay. So okay, hold on. So what's the reason we talked about this?
No, you were talking about why Yudhishthira was born before Bhima.
Yeah. The Pancha Pandavas, right? So dharma first, then comes buddhi bala, manobala, all of those balas represented by Bhima, right? Bhimasena represent the strength. So strength is very important. Strength is very, very important. It is next only to dharma, right? Even the most strongest and the greatest are subservient to dharma, is what it says. And then comes Vijaya. Arjuna is Vijaya, right? The victory, the power, the victory, all of those things come under kingship. And then finally, Nakula Sahadeva's skill and arts and all of those things come next. Right? So this is the order in which Kunti, of course, the first three, Kunti's kids, and then Madri's kids, Nakula Sahadeva twins. Right? So that is a representative of this. The position of dharma is topmost. Dharma is above the greatest of the great, because it's the one that governs the universe. And he's the judge of dharma and adharma is Yama. Okay. It's like this. The law book or the principles of law is dharma. The judge who uses the principles of law is Yama. Right? Yama is not dharma in that sense. Yama is the executor of that. Just like a judge is executor of all the law, principles of law. The same way, Yama is the executor of dharma and adharma. Okay, any questions so far?
Yes, Sunil.
Yes.
So this Siva, hi. So talking about dharma,
Yes.
I mean Yudhishthira being an incarnation of Yama, and he's the one who is making sure people do the right thing, right? But he's, and you explained why he is the strongest of them all. But in the Mahabharata, he is always portrayed as the weakest of the five
No, I didn't say.
brothers,
When did I
right?
say he's strongest of the all? We were just
I mean,
talking. Bala comes
but
second.
no, not the strongest of the all, but he comes over, Dharma comes over all of them, all the balas, right?
Correct.
But in the story, he is always portrayed as the weakest of the five. He's always confused. He's vacillating
Correct.
with all kinds of points, right? He wants to take. He never makes up his mind. So that is a quality of him in the story, or is that how Dharma works?
No,
That
no,
you
no.
have to.
No, Dharma doesn't work. I mean, Dharma, he is the executor of Dharma, right? But as an
I'm just
executor of
asking.
Dharma, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, as an executor of Dharma, he is confused. Who is the most convinced? Bhima is. If you read all of the story of the Mahabharata, the one who has strength of conviction, strength of faith, function, strength of bhakti, strength, all kinds of strength, it is Bhima. When everybody says everything, then Bhima will say something, and then they'll all agree, right? And Bhima is the one who will say, of course, when they're in the forest and Yudhishthira doesn't even want to get the kingdom back, he sends Draupadi and he tells him, oh, this seems like this guy has settled it down in forest. He doesn't want to get the kingdom back. Tell him real dharma, right? So yes, of course. But as Vidura, there is a lot of conviction. As Yudhishthira, he's vacillating.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. But Vidura doesn't have that problem. If you look at Vidura's role in Mahabharata, Vidura has a conviction of what is dharma and what is adharma.
Correct. He knows exactly what's going to happen.
Yes, yeah. So in the Yudhishthira form, he is kind of confused, and then Bhima has to tell him, or Draupadi has to tell him what the real thing is. But again, he's a quick learner, and yeah.
That's why I was trying to understand why is he portrayed in such way, since he's son of Yama.
I think it is showing the strength of conviction on the one side, and kind of sticking to bookish, because Yudhishthira is very bookish.
Absolutely, yes.
It's very bookish, right? And then so he has to be told, what the actual spirit of that is, and then he understands it. So yes.
So do we have to follow? So it would be better to follow Vidura than Yudhishthira, right? If you look at
Vidura, definitely Vidura Niti, right? That's the principle that the Pandavas use to govern the kingdom. Niti is what it is.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So now that we are in Yama, I also thought it's a good time to brush up on Yama niyamas. Now, there's no connection to Yama on this, even though Yama is controlling, right? He's the one who decides on dharma and adharma. Niyama is also derived from the same word and the same meaning as such. So let's brush up on Yama niyama a little bit before we move away from this. So tell me, what is Yama and what is niyama?
This is from Patanjali Sutras, right, Sunil? Niyama is the way you live, you behave.
What is Yama?
Yama is the rule.
No. No, it is from Patanjali, but it's also, Patanjali has just collected what already existed in the tradition. So it is also in Puranas as well.
Welfare to the society. Welfare to the society.
Welfare to the society. Which one is that?
Yama.
Okay, and then what is niyama?
Niyama, personal habits.
Correct. Right? The difference between niyama and yama is, niyama is adhyatma domain. That means relating to oneself. Yama is adhibhautika. That means us in relation to society. Right? So now let's start with the niyamas, right? Which is personal, as in our, starts from us. What is the bedrock of personal habits? Cleanliness. And this is the sutra. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaswadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani Niyamaha, from the Patanjali Sutra. Shaucha. Cleanliness is at the bedrock of, our personal hygiene is at the bedrock of all habits. Everything starts with cleanliness. Cleanliness, our own cleanliness is taking a shower and all that. Then cleanliness of the surroundings. Of course, cleanliness and order, is the same thing together. And cleanliness, right? And in the Subhashita says, what does Subhashita say? Sarvesham eva shauchanam artha shaucham param. Among all cleanlinesses, the greatest cleanliness is financial cleanliness. It's being clean in finances. It's the greatest cleanliness, it says, according to the Subhashita. So this includes all kinds. In every dealing, you have to be clean. That cleanliness is the bedrock of everything, right? So, and cleanliness is at the bedrock of a lot of rituals, a lot of things that we perform. Where even when we say untouchability, even though that is nothing but cleanliness. It is being clean, but there's nothing called untouchability. There is kshanika untouchable, as in you don't touch them. Like my grandparents or my grandfather would not let me touch him when he's doing his puja. That is shaucha, that is required for the puja, right? But then when that is done, then that goes away, right? So there are different definitions of shaucha, but everything, the bedrock of all personal habits, comes from cleanliness. Shaucha is the first. Cleanliness is the first. Unclean, remember, unclean, where does unclean come from? Alakshmi. Unclean and chaos comes from Alakshmi, right? Clean, Lakshmi herself says in Vishnu Purana, where it is clean, I go and establish myself, right? So cleanliness is at the heart of dharma. Okay. Then next, santushti or santosha. What is santushti? The feeling of satisfaction, which is what?
Like be contented.
Yeah, be content, which is not the interpretation of that. The see, there are in the Gita, when it is describing the one who has stita prajnatva, it says apuri achala pratishtam samudram yadvat apayati, or something like nadya, something like that. It says, which means the ocean is full, yet all of the nadis, the rivers, they drain themselves into the ocean. So one has to desire the desires like an ocean, it says. Krishna says, one of my favorite. That means when you desire to do something, it has to come from fullness, not from emptiness, right? What is emptiness? One of the things I keep saying to my kids, right? They say, I need this toy, right? And once they get the dinosaur toy, they no longer are happy with it. That's it. I mean, like just the possession of it, you lose the interest. The interest is only up to the point of possession. Once you have it, you lose interest in it, right? And then, so that means you are looking at from the point of emptiness. That means don't have, I want to have, right? That is asantushtaha. That is called as asantushti. Asantushti means you don't look at what you already have. You look at what you don't have. So everything, every judgment you do, everything that you do in your life is from the point of view of what you don't have. Even though you might have the greatest wife or the greatest husband, kids, awesome, everything is awesome, but then you are still dissatisfied because you are looking at it from the point of what you don't have, from a lack. That is called as asantushti. Santushti is what? Santushti is enjoying what you already have, taking time to enjoy what you already have. You know, in America, there's a lot of stress given on gratitude. What is gratitude? Santushti, nothing but santushti. Gratitude is santushti. There is no sense of gratitude in India. Why? I don't see Indians expressing gratitude. Of course, Americanize, you learn to express gratitude. But if you go to India, nobody says to anybody, thank you. Why? Of course, leave the word thank you, not lip service. I'm not saying about the word. I'm saying about the sense of gratitude that it expresses, feeling grateful. I don't see that. Why? Or instead of asking that, it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Do you see the same?
No. Yes.
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 Yeah, I totally agree.
We don't say thanks to our fathers don't say thanks to me when I give water or something. Here we say that. That's a big difference.
So I think the corruption has happened because of the sense of kartavya. That means it is your job to do it. Why should I thank you? You did your duty as a son, or you did your duty as a friend, right? Or you're doing your duty as your husband or your wife. There is no need to thank. I think that has destroyed santushti.
It's true.
Right? So
But
that has to go.
But hasn't it always been the case, or this is a new phenomenon, you think?
No. It is a new phenomenon. Gratitude. That is why it is saying santushti here. Of course, the concepts are corrupted because we are taking duty at one point and taking santushti and mixing everything, and we are completely confused. Of course, we are confused. The whole generation is confused. Generations are confused. But the reason santushti is number 2, right? If shaucha comes number 1, gratitude, expressing gratitude is number 2. And this is personal habit. It says make it a personal habit to express gratitude for the things you have and for the people who have done good to you. That is the second thing. That is most important. Second, after shaucha, that comes next. Most important, right? But we, as Indians, I think that sense of duty, that we think that, this is all, it's their job, let them do. Why should I thank them? That has destroyed our santushti. That has destroyed, and that is leading to a lot of bad relationships and the bad things. Because we expect, like an entitlement, right? That sense of kartavya leads to entitlement. I'm entitled to this because it is your duty to do this to me. So when entitlement comes, then everything is gone. So santushti is very, very, very important. It's just, if we say content, then it doesn't capture the word. It means enjoying what you have. Enjoy what you have and desire from that fullness, not from the lack. Don't always go from the lack. I don't have this. What do you have?
Hey, Sunil, question.
Yes, sir.
So if is there any time, historically speaking, the gratitude, appreciation was ever expressed in Indian history? I mean, I know
Man,
modern days has always been like thank because it's a Western concept. People do it here in Western world, and people at the end, when you get something, you always say thank you. I mean, thank you has become so, kind of second nature. But was it in a historical perspective?
definite, man. It is human to thank. It is definitely human to thank, right?
But so it sounds like over time you got lost because people now thinking it's a duty opposed to maybe there's a historical period where that was gratitude was expressed and over time people just took it as a duty and they no longer express it. They don't say it. They may mean it, but they don't say it.
No, that is a confusion of two things. Yes, it is the duty of the son to take care of their parents and do her duty of the wife to take care of husband, duty of the husband to take care of the wife. That is from the wife's point of view. From the husband's point of view, it is the duty of the husband to thank the wife. So we are mixing those two things, or we are only taking one single dimension. We're not taking multi-dimension. These are multi-dimension things, right? A friend's duty to help a friend. But the friend who's helped, it's his duty to express the gratitude to the friend who helped, right? So both are there. So it's one person's gratitude and the other person is duty. Both mixed together. Because it is your duty to do something should not stop me from expressing gratitude for you.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense what you're saying. I was just wondered because I noticed that too. Even historically speaking, in our family, they just don't have that habit of saying thanks, and obviously in the modern day they all do that. It's kind of become natural to them. So when they give you a glass of water, it's thank you. But it's an English word. It's dhanyavad. It's always thank you, right? Because it's become that English slang kind of made it easy. Nobody says dhanyavad. I mean, it just doesn't work. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that is very important to see. There is a lot of things to learn from America and from the West. Gratitude is one of them. Very, very important. I mean, it's number 2 here in the list of niyamas. And Gautam brought about, he had left this one on the chat. The concept of rana, that you owe, the Pitru rana, Deva rana. The concept of rana is also that one, right? I owe my forefathers. I owe the nature, the devatas. Owing is also the same thing, right? When somebody does a duty, you owe them something, right? The whole concept of owing somebody something, that is from where the gratitude has to come, right? So these are very important things, and from the personal cultures, point of view, cultivating these great habits, very important.
Because we also don't hear about the gratitude even on our stories, Purana stories, right?
Man, you're not read the stories then.
That's probably right. because the Purana stories should seep into the culture, right? Like the other
no.
person was saying, we have never heard anybody thank people in my life. All my life I spent in India.
Yeah, that is still a kind of a blip in time.
Right.
So
correct.
100 years, if you go back 100 years, it's a different India, it's a different people, a different society. So I think it's a recent phenomenon. It's probably very recent in the sense that 60, 70 years that this has happened. And especially I think it's happened from the concept of kartavya being wrongly pursued, perceived or understood as entitlement.
Yeah, I've seen people who say thank you will never say nandri or dhanyava, Tamil or in they won't say it. Even if you force them to say it, they won't say it. For them, if they say it, they think they're saying something wrong. And it's
Yeah.
a very strange phenomenon. So I can't understand it.
Yeah, yeah. But again, yeah, very, very important, right? So this is a very important. So Shaucha is at the bedrock. Tushti comes second. Tushti comes second. So whatever you desire, it has to come from fullness, not from lack, right? It doesn't stop you from desiring desires. It says don't desire from a lack point of view, desire from fullness point of view, right? Then tapa, that is deep thinking. Cultivate deep thinking. We are only shallow thinkers now, especially in this day and age. If something, if you want to know something, you go to Wikipedia, you go and look at some forums, you go and look at Google search. That is skimming, without any expertise, right? That is not what is required. What is required is going in depth, researching, understanding the complexities. That is called as deep thinking. Cultivating deep thinking is again another bedrock of improving oneself or improving one's habits. The habit of deep thinking, the habit of not reading headlines and then moving forward, the habit of diving deep down to understand the complexities of the issues and doing that especially because the attention span is so less. This is one of the habits that is most required in this day and age. Deep thinking, it's missing. It will be as we move forward with a lot of all of social media and iPhone and all that. It's very difficult. Your attention span is a couple of seconds. That's it. You don't hook them in a couple of seconds. It's lost. Nobody's interested in to dig deep, right? And so that again, very, very important habit is deep thinking. Tapa. Swadhyaya, lifelong learning. Your learning doesn't stop after you graduate, right? Your learning is for. So again, this is a big. It's a big thing that people has to learn that even after you graduate, you can learn so many skills through life. Like Anand. One of the examples from me is Anand. He is learning these different things and speaking, public speaking. These are skills, right? Nobody taught us. You had it or you didn't. Right? In the schools, of course, now with new education policy, if something changes, it's for good, it's good. But when we were growing, it's all subjects, right? Nobody would teach us skills, public speaking, finance. These are important life skills. Nobody teaches that, right? But lifelong learning, if schools doesn't teach, doesn't mean you don't have to learn. Just try learning new things, throughout your life. That is called a Swadhyaya. Of course, in this sense, Swadhyaya is actually learning in the Vedanta term, but also Swadhyaya applies to everything. Learning should be made lifelong. You should tell yourself, I stopped learning because now college is over, graduation is over, no need to learn. I have to earn. That's it. No learn, only earn. No. Every year, make it a point to learn one skill, one new skill. Over 10 years, it's great. 10 new great skills. It's amazing, right? Yeah. So that is very important. Swadhyaya is very important. Again, these are all personal. This is personal development. Cleanliness, content, gratitude, expressing of gratitude, the ability to deep think, the attitude of lifelong learning. The attitude of learning changes everything. That is a great shift for personality, right? It's a great. And then finally, devotion to Paramatma. That is the great thing that should be in everybody's life is the devotion to the power which is higher than everything else, right? So these are in the Adhyatma domain, relating to ourselves. But we are not islands. We live with people. We live in society. So that means we have to develop habits on how to approach, right? How to approach relationships. And here comes Yama. Again, this is the Patanjali Sutra. Ahimsa masteyam brahmacharyam aparigraha yamaha. So these are 5 yamas. What are those five yamas? That means social habits that one has to develop. First one, the bedrock of society is ahimsa, right? And this is you can see Indian history. When peace went out of Indian history, everything went out of the window, right? You had invasions happening. You had all of these different things happening. There is no peace. When there's no peace, there's no development. There's nothing, right? Everything is stagnant. And the civilization stagnated for years, hundreds of years. But why?
So Sunil, even if you have dharma, without strength, there is no peace, right? So shouldn't strength be the highest?
Is used for dharma, right? So again, what is ahimsa? Ahimsa is not non-violence. Ahimsa is non-threatening. That means, and that is one thing that if America has to learn, that they think that looking very threatening is their thing, right? One ought to be threatening, one ought to appear threatening. So that is a very bad. That's not good for society. Destroy society, right? One has to be approachable. One has to be non-threatening. Non-threatening in appearance, non-threatening in speech, right? Non-threatening in whatever we do. That is the bedrock of a peaceful society. Peaceful society is going to be the developed society. That's where law and order comes, right? When there's a law and order is established, then you have a society that can develop, where the law is strong. Then strength, development, everything comes where the law is strong. And where it's threatening, where the ahimsa is there, it's lawless. The stability is not there for all the other good things to happen, right? So bedrock of any society, any relationship is being non-threatening. Most important thing in a relationship. Relationship is built on non-threats, whether it is in appearance, in speech, whatever it is, non-threats. Ahimsa is at the bedrock of that. And then satyam. What is satya? I mentioned a post a couple of days ago, right? Couple of things I have to say. Right? One, satya is not truth in that sense. I said satya is not yathartha katanam bhashanam is satya, in the sense that satya means is not saying as is. You tell what you see. That is not satya. Your speech is for the good of the other. That is satya. And that is why that saying that says satyam bruyat priyam bruyat na bruyat satyam apriyam priyam cha nanratam bruyat yesha dharma sanatana. So that means, and this is expressed beautifully in that Twitter picture that I put, and it says that truth spoken harshly cannot be heard. It loses that thing, right? When truth is harsh, no, you cannot hear it. But when there is love that undermines truth, it is for your bad. So that means truth and love should be together, it says. Right? Truth as is, and love should be together. When truth and love are together, that's called hita bhashanam. Hita, for your good. I'm speaking for your good. That means Speak the truth, but in a non-hurting way, right? But don't speak in a non-hurting way a lie. Knowing this difference is dharma, it says.
Beautiful.
Right? So don't speak in flowery words just to speak good to some person. Right? Don't do that. Don't speak a harsh truth that another person cannot bear. Don't do that. Then what you should do? Speak with truth and love together, which is hita.
Yes.
It should be for others' good. Somebody's good. Speak that truth. Right? And that's been expressed in that tweet beautifully. And I was like, oh, this captures this shloka so well. So that is what satyam means, that one. Hita bhashanam. That means whatever you, not just bhashanam, whatever you do or say is for the good of the other. Sometimes it is harsher, sometimes it is loving. But the truth and love are together. That is hita. Right? Sometimes you have to slap somebody to bring them back to reality. Sometimes you have to tell them with lots of love to mend their ways. But knowing the difference, when to slap and when to love, that takes dharma. Both together is satya.
There are a lot of, in Tirukkural, there are like 3-4 Kural comes with that thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful, actually. That goes along with that. Actually.
Yeah.
So where does white lie stand?
White lie. White lie is, again, is it for the hita of the other? Again, not in your concept, but is what you are speaking for the good of the other person. And that should come from the heart.
Okay, I see the point. As long as that is a betterment of the person you're telling.
Yeah. Okay. So that is ahimsa satyam asteyam. Asteyam is not taking somebody's property, right? Again, this is at the basis of business. And there's the basis of contract. The whole basis of contract theory is the niyama or the yama of asteya. Right? You don't take others' stuff. There is trust. Basically, this is nothing but trust. Trust is at the bedrock of business. When the trust goes away, no business is possible. Right? So asteyam is the trust factor. Is where you don't take away what it does not belong to you. Right? Unlawfully. So that is called as asteya, which is the bedrock of business. Right? So beautiful, right? Because society has to function well. Ahimsa has to be there, non-threats. Satya, people, wanting to do good to others should be there. And this non-theft, asteya, trust factor has to be there. Without trust, society cannot function. Trust is very important. And then brahmacharya is not just, being single in that sense. It's fidelity in a relationship. All this is about relationships, right? Fidelity in relationships. This is man and woman. So fidelity in relationships is brahmacharya is when you're not married, that there's no sexual misconduct. When you're not married, you're not sexually active. That is brahmacharya for the non-married. But grihasthas also have brahmacharya, and that is brahmacharya for the grihasthas is sexual fidelity. That is the trust in the husband, wife, or the relationship between man and woman. That is the brahmacharya. Brahmacharya doesn't mean being single. There's a brahmacharya for grihasthas also, brahmacharya for brahmacharis also. Okay. Basically, brahmacharya is fidelity in a relationship. The trust factor in a relationship. When it comes to this kind of a man-woman relationship, the brahmacharya. And then aparigraha is non-greed, as in taking everything for oneself. That is, there has to be giving. The giving is also one of these are all bedrock habits, right? That one has to cultivate in one's life. Giving, cultivate giving. Don't hoard, right? Hoarding is bad. Giving is good. Giving comes first, then comes taking, right? Give comes first. That's the 12th, right? From the last time, what said 12th bhava in horoscope, giving. That is second from the 11th. That means labha comes from giving. What you give is the second from 11th, means what you get is what you give, right? So that is, so these are the things, right? To have a great society, number one, non-threatening. Number two, acting and speaking and being in such a way that you for the good of others. Trust, non-theft, as in trust factor. Number four, fidelity in relationships. And number five is non-hoarding. That means the charity, being givingness. These five things are the most important in a society, in a relationship that needs to be cultivated. So one pertains to us, that is called niyama. Other pertains to us in relationship with society, that is called yama. So 10 habits that we have to cultivate in life for individual development as well as social development. Two dimensions, individual dimension and social dimension.
Beautiful.
Okay. Any questions?
Sunil, expressing gratitude, I think
Yes.
our problem seems to be more on the expressing of it. It is not that we are not having it in our heart, because if you see a lot of phone calls in this country will always end up when they're speaking to their wife or I love you and things like that. And we never do it. I mean, I'm guilty of not expressing gratitude as well as expressing love. And that really knocked me.
You're not alone, Anand.
Yeah, I've thought about this. And I'm like, you know, and you know, it was one of my tapa sessions, deep thinking, where you know that I think the sense of duty, the kartavya, you know, leads to entitlement. That you think a brother has to be like this, he's doing his job, because you hear this, you know, you are doing your job, right? And we don't tip much because hey, that guy, you know, is doing his job. Why should I tip?
No, this is something I saw that, you know, if you go to any restaurant in India, if you say when they try to take your plates or offer the food in the server, you don't say thanks to them. If you say it, I try to do that, and they say, no, don't do all that here. It's in US. Don't say thanks for the person who is keeping the food or taking the plates. You cannot say thanks. Even if you say thanks, those guys don't know how to respond. I mean, like
they're like shocked. Like,
shocked.
who is this guy?
That is the problem. Like that's a practically I noticed actually.
Yeah.
I think that I've seen it in what Karthik said. The people who are helping cleaning, on the other end, I've seen people don't even say thank to archakas in temple, you know. So even there, I mean, that's his job. I mean, don't worry about all those things, you know. So across the board, we don't thank. I think it's very cultural and it's not good. You're right.
No, it's not cultural. It's cultural degeneration.
Exactly.
It's not cultural in that sense, but it's because it's santushti. It's part of santushti, so it has to be individual habit.
We don't thank the priest, and we don't thank the people who are the opposite end too. So across the board, we don't thank anybody.
Yeah, and that is why we go from a place of lack, right? Where you know we lack, and we, you know, without that gratitude, There is no awareness of what you already. All you know is what you don't have, and that is the motivating factor for what you have to achieve, and that's dysfunctional.
It seems that everyone focuses the glasses half empty. Those are the people who really suffer, right?
They suffer, yes, because because when something is possessed, it's no longer interesting, right? And I can see it in kids, right, where it's only until you get the toy. Once you get the toy, and that's it. That is there. It's in your possession. It's in your possession. It's in your control.
I know adult enough where their glass is always empty. So
No, I know, but it's you can see that in kids how that is.
Correct.
And of course, yeah, I am guilty of it a lot. So, but that's something that needs to be corrected and turned around. And these, I mean, if you want sadhana, this is all sadhana. Sadhana means cultivating these things in our own individual lives, and as well as in relationships with the society.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we have completed. Let me see. Is there anything? So, any questions?
Sunil.
Yes.
Dhanyavad.
Oh my goodness! Oh man! You took my weapon and hit me back.
सुनील भाई जन्माष्टमी का फास्ट कब करने का?
जन्माष्टमी
फास्ट जन्माष्टमी फास्ट करते हैं, कब करने का है? कल करने का है या परसों?
I guess Janmashtami is when is it recognized? Tuesday?
No, it is on the 9th. Today is 9th, 10th, 11th, no? Tuesday.
Ashtami.
Yeah, okay.
Ashtami. On Ashtami you have to do.
Okay.
Some people are saying it on Wednesday too, so.
Om Hare Rama Hare Krishna.
No, but Ashtami is when you do, midnight is Janmashtami. And
Yeah.
this time it is actually 2 months. It comes in 2 months. Next month is also Ashtami is Krishna Jayanti. So this one is Janmashtami, lunar calendar. The other one, because when Krishna was born, Surya was in the Simha Rashi, which is right in Simha Rashi. He'll come after, I think 15th or 16th. And only then actual Janmashtami will happen, or Jayanti will happen. So you have to do both.
It's a both scenario.
Yeah, both. This as well as because right. So lunar calendar, because he was born in Shravana Masa, you do Janmashtami in the now. But the rule is it has to be done in Simha Masa, when sun is in Simha Rashi, and so that happens next month. Next month, Ashtami midnight, there will be Rohini Nakshatra, so that you have to do at that time too. Okay, so let's go back to but it's 12:30. You want to continue a little bit? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we are done with 29, right? Verse 29. So verse 30. Prahaladaschasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamaham mruganam cha mruge vainateyascha. Right? So among the daityas, among the asuras, I am among all the asuras, I am Prahlada, or I am within Prahlada, special. He is the king of the asuras. In a good way, of course, in a good way, right? Same applies to Vibhishana, right? So there are good asuras who are good. Vibhishana was also good, and Prahlada is also good. And that goodness, and you know, my guru says, and I remember this because he says there are only two people, kings, that opposed teaching of dharma, in the education system. One was Hiranyakashipu, because he stopped the teaching dharma in education for Prahlada, right? He controlled that. He said, remove all of those things. And then the other one is Nehru. It's a secular education, because the education system of India, kind of alienates people from their own culture. You don't learn anything about your own culture. And so he is very funnily, he says that one guy that did that was Hiranyakashipu. At that time he did that to Prahlada and all the people, and the second one is Nehru, who did it with us. So Prahlada among the Daityas. And time, he says, I am in time, Kalaha, Kalayatamaham. That means among that which kind of imprisons us. Right? Among that, I am in the prison of time. Time is a prison. So if you look at the commentary here, it says, see, Kalayatam akal, Kalayatam akalayatam, bandhanadi kurvatam va kalaha. Bandhana kurvatam. That means that which imprisons. Kala, the word etymologically means kala, kala bandhane. That is the dhatu. Kala means to imprison. So time means that which imprisons. It's derived from that meaning. Kala bandhane. Okay. Okay. And then Mruganam cha Mrugendra. Among all of the animals, I am who is the Mrugendra? I am the lion. I'm the lion. And then Vainateyascha Pakshinam. Among all the birds, I am Garuda. Okay. So now let's dig deep. Prahlada. So I'll start the story and then we'll complete it next time. So Prahlada story, we all know that that Hiranyakashipu. Again, if you look at the etymology of the words, right? Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, brothers. Hiranyakashipu. So Adi Hiranyaksha was there. Even before Jaya Vijaya, there was a person by name Adi Hiranyaksha. He was the one responsible for taking the earth out of its orbit, and then earth was drifting, right? And then Varaha Avatara, first avatara of the Manvantara is Varaha Avatara, and therefore this Manvantara is called Shweta Varaha Manvantara, right? I mean, this Kalpa is called Shweta Varaha. Sorry, it's not Manvantara. The Kalpa, the day, is called Shweta Varaha Kalpa, because at the beginning of the day, earth was floating in the ocean. Ocean is solar system, right? I mean the universe. Everything is floating, like things float in the ocean. So it went from its kaksha, or its orbit, because Adi Varaha, Adi it out. Adi Varaha, the first Varaha Avatara that happened, he was the one who rescued that and killed Hiranyaksha then. And that is when, from then on, when the earth was established back in the orbit, from then on, the first Manvantara, the Swayambhu Manvantara started, and then all of the different Manvantaras started. So the beginning of the Kalpa is where Adi Hiranyaksha is there. And of course, see, anything in the Puranas have a Adi Daiva aspect, Adi Bhautika aspect, Adhyatma aspect. That means it's a story of the outside, of nature, what happened in nature, and it's also a story within ourselves. What is Hiranyaksha?
Hiranyaksha is like typically like a deer's eyes, right?
No. Hiranyaksha means he whose eyes are on the gold, on wealth. That is Hiranyaksha. That means the person who is only focused on or gold. Hiranyaksha means he whose eyes are on gold. Okay, so that is Hiranyaksha. Of course, you can also, etymologically, you can also say gold. But this is he whose eyes are on gold. That is the correct way of etymological understanding this name, right? Wealth, basically one who is after wealth. Who is Hiranyakashipu? Kashipu means pillow, right? The pillow that you sleep on. He whose wealth is inside the pillow, that means holder. Hiranyakashipu means one who hoards wealth. Like even today we say, put your money under your bed, right? Or inside your pillow. That means Hiranyakashipu. Putting your money in the pillow means Hiranyakashipu, right? Hiranya is actually gold. At that time it's gold. So gold in the pillow. He who puts gold in the pillow is Hiranyakashipu. He whose eyes are always on the gold is Hiranyaksha. And these both of them are within us. There is Hiranyaksha, there is Hiranyakashipu, both within us. Hoarding, the habit of the hoarding, that's Hiranyakashipu. The always, thinking about wealth and acting from the point of view of wealth, that's Hiranyaksha. Okay, so Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha is killed by Varaha. Not Adi Varaha. After the Manvantara starts, in the Varaha Avatara, the second Avatara, Varaha Avatara happens in Vaivasvata Manvantara. Then Hiranyaksha again tries to dislodge the earth from its orbit and create chaos. And then Varaha Avatara comes, he comes from Brahma's nostril, and then he establishes the earth back into the orbit, and then he kills Hiranyaksha. And then this angers his brother Hiranyakashipu. And so he does Gora Tapas, and then after a lot of tapas, then he asks for a boon to Brahma. And the boon is again like all Taraka. I think I told you the story of Taraka, right? Like in the Skanda Avatara, Kartikeya Avatara, Taraka says, "You give me, immortality, that immortal life." Brahma says, "I cannot give immortal life. That is Prakriti, cannot happen." Then he says, the next best thing is you will not be dead unless and until you fight a war with a boy. So he thinks, fighting with boy, I can handle that. It's fine. And so he thinks, oh, I'm immortal. And then he'll go and establish, he'll fight the Devas and become the king. And so there, right, that happens there. In the story of Hiranyakashipu, he says that, again, immortality, but no immortality I cannot give. So, okay, let's do another way. Let me be not killed by a human or animals, inside or outside, neither in the day or the night. Brahma says, okay. So he thinks he's covered everything.
And also neither living nor dead, right?
Neither.
And also neither living nor dead.
Neither on the earth or in the antariksha. So he says all of those things. Neither on the bhumi or on the in the antariksha loka. Neither inside or outside, neither day or night, neither human or animals. Neither living or dead, that I don't know.
No, that's why he tears him with his nails, because nails are considered as neither living nor dead.
Oh yeah, that's what I think. I believe.
Okay, it's not in the Narasimha Purana,
Oh, okay.
but he's still living in that
I
sense.
heard too many stories there.
Yeah. No, but again, yeah. So she'll ask all of these things, and then Brahma gives him that boon, and he thinks, oh no, now, neither this nor that, neither this nor that. He does not understand that this and that option is there. man and animal, day and night, inside and out, which is the door, right? Up and down, which is in the middle. I think somebody's.
We need to mute.
Yeah, so he will do that, and then again, then he'll go and take over the of Swarga and the 3 worlds, and then of course all the devatas, they run. They're always, the thing is they'll run to Brahma. What is the solution? Then Brahma says, "Oh, let's go. Let's go to Vishnu. Ask him." And when they go to Vishnu, Vishnu says, "Yes, the solution is close at hand, and his son will take care of it." And then he will have Prahlada. He will have actually 4. One of them, the first one is Prahlada, and then when he is educating Prahlada, when Prahlada is in the womb, actually Narada comes. Narada relates the story of Vishnu and all of those things to Hiranyakashipu's wife, and so the Prahlada already learns the Vaishnava dharma through Narada himself. Narada was already given all of those things, so that strength of conviction is already there in the baby. So when he's born and he's sent for education, and so in Hiranyakashipu's kingdom, secular education. So no mentioning any of the devata names, nothing. Everything is coming from Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is God. Hiranyakashipu is the creator. Everything is Hiranyakashipu, and things like that. He's taught in the Gurukula, and the strength of conviction of Prahlada is so much that he will keep saying Vishnu, 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 Vishnu. And so the teacher, when Hiranyakashipu comes to see what he is learning, and he says, "Okay, who is the greatest?" He thinks he's going to say, "My dad is the greatest," but then he says, "Vishnu, Mahavishnu is the greatest. He's the creator of the world." And he's like, he'll call the teacher, "What are you teaching?" And so whatever they try, they'll poison, they'll throw him from a mountain. And then Holika, right? Remember the Holika Dahana, for Holi that we do. They try to burn in Holika tries, but self burns, and Prahlada is untouched. Prahlada is untouched, and then finally, when he finishes his education, he comes to meet his father, and then that encounter between Hiranyakashipu and that happens. Fantastic. I mean, you have to read that in Vishnu Purana. It's fantastic. And HTW, right? The Hindu Temple of the Woodlands, the EYS, Education, Youth and Service. The motto of that is derived from what Prahlada tells Hiranyakashipu. Tat karma yanna bandhaya sa vidya ya vimuktaye ayasaya param karma vidyanya shilpa naipunam. That is the shloka that Prahlada tells Hiranyakashipu. He says, Tat karma yanna bandhaya. What is real action? Real action is the one which frees you. In the sense, yanna bandhaya, that is not leading to another. Like acting from a lack leads to another lack, another lack. It's an unending thing, right? The real action is unbound, he says. What is the real mark of knowledge? Mark of knowledge is it frees us. It frees the mind. It frees us. Beautiful. And that is the one that EYS motto is Savidya ya vimuktaye. That the true knowledge is that which frees us. Knowledge frees. Wisdom frees. Right? Savidya ya vimuktaye. Ayasaya aparam karma. All other karmas, activities that we do are ayasaya. It is only efforts, right, that makes us to tire us. Everything that we do is effort to tire us. There's nothing in that action, right? It's just tiring. That's it. Ayasaya aparam karma, vidya anya. All other vidyas are naipunam. It is just attaining mastery, like in Shilpa, sculpture and all of the skills. It's attainment of mastery of a skill. Nothing there. This is a real mark of knowledge is it frees your mind. A real mark of a real action, it's unbound. He says, when this is a son teaching his father what is real action and what is real knowledge. So beautiful, beautiful. And then, of course, that all of this conversation happens between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada, and in the end, he says, is your God, your Paramatma Vishnu omnipresent? His name is Vishnu. That means he should be everywhere. He says, yes. Is he here? He there? Is he in this pillar? Yes. Then he breaks the pillar. Then the choice that he had not chosen comes out. Neither man or a woman, neither man, human being or animal. This is a joint form comes, it's a man lion, right? And then neither the day or the night, it's the Sandhya Kala that it happens. And then, it's with weapon or without weapon or something, yes.
Yeah, weapon. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, with or without weapon, something happens. And then he uses the nail. And so he's not without a weapon, he's not using a weapon, he's using a nail, to break him open. And then neither inside nor outside, at the doorway, he'll take him at the doorway. Neither on the bhumi or in the akasha, he'll put him on his lap and to kill him. So whatever intelligence is, whatever intelligence that we show, in front of the infinite intelligence, it is always limited. So they said, right, smart aleck. It's all smart aleck. You cannot win. You cannot win, in front of the universal intelligence, right? So that is what the Hiranyakashipu wanted to be smart aleck, but he met his end. So Narasimha Rupa is not for that. Narasimha Rupa is an eternal form, right? What I said, what? In the Janaka Shadakshari, it is Hare, Rama, Krishna, right? Which is also three Ukara, which is Akara, Ukara, Makara, right? Rama Swarupa is Akara. Krishna Swarupa, Krishna Swarupa is Akara. Rama Swarupa is Ukara. And Narasimha Swarupa or Sankarshana Swarupa. Narasimha is nothing but Sankarshana. That is Narasimha. Hari, that is called as Hari. Narahari. Narahari is this one. That is the Narasimha Rupa. It is an eternal form. It is not a form that got formed just to meet the requirements of Hiranyakashipu boon. No, it is an eternal form. Narasimha is a very eternal form. And also, it is the form through which the universe dissolution happens. That is a form. You'll see it in the next chapter. When Krishna sees the universe dissolving into the mouth, that is the Narasimha form. Right? Damstra Karalani Bhayanakani. I'm seeing the canines says Arjuna, when he's seeing the Vishwarupa Darshana, that canine is that of the Narsimha Rupa, into which all of the, there's all the people are going into the mouth of that. That is Narsimha Rupa or Sankarshana Rupa. That is the Antaryami of Shesha, Antaryami of Shiva. That's the Narsimha Rupa. Or it's also called Sankarshana Rupa. Okay. So that's Prahalada. Prahalada will rule the Asuras. And then his grandson is Bali. Prahalada, I think Vrishaparva, and then Bali, Mahabali.
That's why I think Vishnu said, "I'm not going to kill anyone in your family," or something like that, right? So that's why.
But
Bali.
not because of that, but because of Bali, is very great.
Because he killed his father in front of him, Prahalada. That's what very good is. He gave a oath that you will not kill anyone in his family lineage. That's what he said.
I don't know about that. But again, Prahlada, see, and then when he's in the Ugra form, nothing can come in front of Narsimha. All the devatas are scared to go in front of Narsimha. Nobody, Brahma, nobody wants to go in front of Narsimha. Say to this boy, because you are the one who can pacify him. And then Prahlada, and then he prays, and then Narsimha says, "What boon you want?" Says, "The only boon I want is to have Sada Bhakti in you." It's fantastic. I mean, and he says all of that. And then, that is Shanta Narsimha. So there is Ugra Narsimha and there's Shanta Narsimha, right? There is Yoga Narsimha. So there's different versions. So it is different based on Ugra Narsimha is the one prior to killing Hiranyakashipu and just after killing Hiranyakashipu, that is the Ugra form. And the Bijakshara is Ksham. Not really, it's a very powerful kind of thing. So when you do Narsimha Sadhana, you do mostly Shanta Rupa, the Shanta form of Narsimha. Right? So that's very important. And then again, he's the presiding deity of the Mangala, Mars. Okay. So we'll stop at this. It's 1 o'clock. In the next class, we'll take a few other things about Prahlada and the lineage that comes after Prahlada, and with including Bali. And I don't think there's any opportunity to do Bali's story here. So we can also add Bali's story here. Bali is the king when they do Samudra Mantana, and then he's cheated during Samudra Mantana. And then also when Vamana Avatar happens, Bali is also the king. So we look at those things, and then we look at the concept of time. What is the concept of time? What is the smallest unit of time? What is the biggest unit of time? We look at all of those things, because Kalaha Kalayatamaham, he says, what is that? And then, of course, Murugendra, lion, and the story of Garuda, again, fantastic.
Yeah.
There's also a very high deity. Garuda has no avatars. Shesha has avatars, Rudra has avatars, Garuda has zero, no avatara. Garuda comes directly, to the Bhulokas.
Yes,
So
Shiva,
we look at
Shiva is going to be the next Garuda, right? So that's what he said.
Shesha.
Shesha. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So we will take all of those things next class. Any of you have any questions not addressed?
I think the best one was your 10 habits, right? I know you covered this previously in one of the Gita class, but coming back to it, I think is really, really good.
Very, very important, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait there and then pick up this verse 30 in the next class. Okay. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Om.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hopefully you're doing the Astakshari mantra.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Very good. Very good.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See you all next
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.